Hello all my Kinvians, and welcome to a brand new episode of Discovering Steven Universe. I do again apologize for the loudness of the computer. It is something that I will hopefully be remedying very soon with a custom build, or a new custom build, hopefully in the future. But in the meantime, it's just a sound issue that I'm going to hopefully be able to work through and hopefully reduce somewhat through the editing between now and when this video goes up. So, today I'm going to be watching Cry for Help, which, if I remember correctly, when I gave my theory in the previous episode, it was that my theory from the previous episode was that we would see Malachite return within the next 4 episodes. So my estimate is that Cry for Help may be a cry for help from Lapis for them to finally come help her because she's losing control of Malachite and Jasper, obviously. So, let's get started and begin Cry for Help. One of those weird crying foods.
I'll get this cartoon, man.
PERIDOT, huh?
My mission has been compromised. My escort and informant are gone, and I am now stranded. Please send help!
Oh!
Comic says it's on her TV too, but where? It's you.
Uh-oh.
It's Fuse.
Don't cry, Pearl.
Let's do this. Oh my god.
Oh, that's some flair.
Good evening, everybody.
That's a weird one.
Lovely Sardonyx coming to you alive from the
Sardonyx.
former communication hub. How is y'all doing tonight? Great. Oh my. Oh.
Oh, that's cool.
Are you gonna smash stuff with your warhammer? That's okay. I'm fine. But it's a really good one so far. Oh, really? Don't worry. Putting it on later. Whoa, she's lifting the pillar, guys. And she's fixing the hub. What's she doing up there?
That's Pearl.
Yes. Hey, for some reason, PERIDOT kind of looks like Pearl? What? Let me see. Oh no.
Jeez. So bizarre.
Sure would be nice if things worked out in cartoons. Yeah. Would.
Oh! Okay, that was Whoa, wait a minute. I couldn't tell if that sounded a little bit different or not. Thanks to the computer, it was so loud, it was hard to tell. But, okay. It won't take me really long to really gather my thoughts on this, so I'll see you all in a few minutes for the review portion of this video. Alright, all my Kinvians, welcome back, and as I said before, it is time for the review portion of this video, and let's just get right into it as far as my favorite parts and annoyances as far as this episode goes. I don't know, from my tone of voice you may be able to tell kind of how I feel about it, but let's get into it. Starting with my favorite part, my first favorite part of this episode was the fact that we finally get to see Garnet and Pearl fuse. Not just in the, all three of the gems fusing, which I've actually forgotten the name of that particular fusion. I need to refresh myself on the names. But when they fuse and just the whole situation around there and how just insanely happy Pearl is. That was just such an adorable moment, and it also had one of my favorite quotes, not the quote of the episode, but definitely one of my favorite quotes from this episode, and that's simply when Pearl is getting all teared up, and Garnet says, "Don't cry, Pearl." I just found that really funny. Which, leads right into my second favorite part of this episode, which was Sardonyx. We finally get to see, the result of Garnet and Pearl fusing, and it was definitely an interesting fusion. Definitely an interesting personality. I'll have more to talk about with her here in just a few minutes. But overall, it's just like, it was cool to see a new giant woman, as Steven puts it in the episode, or just giant woman. But my next favorite part about this episode is AMETHYST'S song. It's just it's very subtle, it's very sweet, and there might be more to it that I just couldn't hear thanks to my stupid computer. But it was a really nice song, and I truly enjoyed that. That's all I have to say. It was just a really nice, sweet, simple song that just expressed the emotion perfectly. And it really took me by surprise, because some of the other times when songs have popped up, you can tell there's sort of that appropriate need for a song almost, or it seems to be very organic to the episode. This one, it did stand out, and it didn't seem like a song was really necessary at that point. But at the same time, it does kind of work. It's hard for me to describe, really. But overall, AMETHYST'S song, I enjoyed it. And now my fourth and final, strangely, favorite part of this episode was the ending. Just the way that they ended the episode. It wasn't... we've had episodes that have not ended on a happy note before. But this is one of those episodes where there's not really any closure for the situation. There's still this bit of conflict between Garnet and Pearl that is left unresolved, and just the simple fact that they did that. In general, I don't like shows that do that, especially not movies, but because of the way this show seems to work, I feel like it will be resolved at some point, hopefully soon. So, I don't know, just the way they worked it with this particular episode, I feel like it really works. So those are my favorites. Moving on to my annoyances with this episode. First of all, the crying breakfast friends. Yes, I get there's kind of, sort of parallels to what was going on in the episode. I get that. But the crying breakfast friends are just flat out bizarre and weird, and I figure they're going to be a continuing part of the show that'll pop up every now and then. They're just so weird, and I just don't care for them at all. So, it's an annoyance just for me. My second annoyance, strangely, was Sardonyx. Because yes, I mentioned it was cool to see the new fusion. But Sardonyx is... The personality of the character, it was just kind of annoying to me. Maybe it's she was being sort of extra enthusiastic and extra energetic in a way because of, one, how long it had been since, she had existed. And also because of Pearl's just elation to be part of that fusion again. So that might have played into it some, but overall it just I felt Amethyst's frustration and cringiness with Sardonyx because she just seemed like, I don't know. It didn't seem like a personality that I truly expected to come out of Garnet and Pearl fusing. And maybe that's why it annoys me. I don't know, but just overall, it's like, yeah, I mean, that's an annoyance for me. If anyone else feels this way, I would really like to hear your thoughts as to why, because it's hard for me to describe, but the personality of Sardonyx just didn't really click with me. But that's just the way certain characters work. So, okay, those are my favorite parts and my annoyances with this episode. Very short list for this particular episode. And no moments of terror. No moments of terror. One that could have been a potential moment of terror near the end, but it didn't end up happening. It was just very quick, and they destroyed the communications hub, and that was it. So yeah, if you have any of your own favorite parts and annoyances that you would like to voice, or even like to let me know what you think of mine, please let me know in the comments down below. I look forward to hearing what you have to say. And then as for my track of this episode, it was in my favorites, but that would be Amethyst's song. Just, the short, sweet song that she has during, it was during the second time that Sardonyx appeared, and then just before Amethyst and Steven, snuck back and found out that it was Pearl that was rebuilding the hub. So yeah, it's just like Amethyst's song, it was so sweet. I'm gonna go back and re-listen to it because I do feel like that the noise from the computer was keeping me from hearing everything. But it was just a nice, sweet, subtle song that I really enjoyed. Now, as for my quote of the episode, and this also plays into the fact that the ending was one of my favorite parts. And it was a line from Amethyst as Garnet and Pearl walk by each other just in complete silence, just can tell Pearl is still really hurt and upset at herself, and Garnet is just being very cold and stoic. And I mean, like I said, it's like the situation has been left unresolved. To which Amethyst says, "It sure would be nice if things worked out the way they do in cartoons." And Steven says, "It would." Now, I feel, again, I enjoy this line because of the fact that it plays with the ending of leaving things unresolved, but also the clear, blatant, and purposeful irony because that it's a cartoon, playing with that whole trope. So, I mean, yeah, that was my quote of the episode. If there are any other lines that you think are particularly noteworthy, I'd like to know what they are, so let me know what those quotes might be down below. And then, finally, before I sort of start to wrap things up here, my question of the episode is, since we really only see PERIDOT at the beginning, and that's only a repeated message that's being sent out, I wonder, when will we see PERIDOT again? Not a recording, not just on video, but when will we see PERIDOT in the flesh, in the gym, whatever you would consider it, but when will we see her in person again? Because I'm really interested, and I have a feeling that whenever that happens, that may be when Lapis and Jasper return, whether it be still fused or not. But yeah, so that's my question of the episode. Theories, I mean, it kind of plays into the question, so no reason to go over that. But my overall feelings on this episode, it was okay. It definitely had its good points. It had the plus of the fact that it introduced us to Sardonyx, so a new fusion. It created this little bit of drama that will likely be resolved in the end. But overall, it felt like an episode that didn't really need to exist. Most likely, I assume later episodes will prove me wrong, because there'll probably be some huge branches that go out from this episode that plays a very vital role in those upcoming episodes. But as it is right now, it just feels like it was there to, again, introduce us to Sardonyx and remind us that PERIDOT's out there, which we already knew. So, I know you all hate me saying this, but for now, this episode to me feels like it's kind of a filler episode. I'm sure I'll be proven wrong in the future, but as it stands, it's just... I could take it or leave it. It's, again, it's not a bad episode. A bad episode? It's not a bad episode by any means, but it's just doesn't really feel necessary in the end. And again, I know that you all hate it when I say that, especially when I use the word filler in reference to any of these episodes, but that's just the way I feel about it. And again, it's not necessarily saying that that's a bad thing. It's just from the perspective of someone new to the series, just going through these episodes. Again, I know, supposedly there are no filler episodes, quote unquote. But just to repeat one last time, it's from my perspective, from a new person going through these episodes for the first time. Feels like a filler episode, will probably be proven wrong later. But that wraps it up for this episode, everyone. Thank you very much for joining me for this episode of Discovering Steven Universe. Next time, I will be watching KEYSTONE MOTEL. And it seems like a rather innocuous title, but who knows? It could be one of the most important episodes of the entire second season. There's only one way to find out, and that is to watch it. So until next time, everyone, for KEYSTONE MOTEL, I'm PapaKen, and I will see you in the next episode.